Hello, I'm Erin Magennis, and today we're going to be talking about scaling NFTs for the masses. And I'd like to take a moment to step into the dark. There won't be slides today, and we're doing that to kind of resemble how a lot of people are coming into this space, not really understanding what NFTs are, what non-fungible means, or maybe even a token for that matter. They might feel overwhelmed by all the conversations and threads passing by on Discord or on Twitter. Or maybe they haven't even made it there yet, and they've already decided that this space isn't for them. They don't understand it, even though they might be an artist, a technologist, a business owner. They have no clue how it actually relates to them. And maybe some of us started in this space in that same way. But the media has picked it up a lot, and if you're here right now, listening to this or watching this later, we have a responsibility to lend that hand out, to invite people to take that next step forward. People are looking for bridges to come into this space, but right now they haven't been able to find them. And they've decided that NFTs or the Metaverse is a joke or a meme, and there's nothing more than that. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I know firsthand how many times I've heard that exact sentiment, that it's just a joke. There's no future here, even though we all envision or are building towards something amazing. That's why we're here today. So, to invite people, to invite the masses into this space, there are three main bridges that I believe really need to be formed. One is to NFTs as a whole. A second is into the metaverse, this digital reality. And then third is from a social and cultural angle. So first, let's break down NFTs. A few different points there. It needs to be integratable with the systems that are already established. People are comfortable in Web 2 or in these traditional worlds and structures. And for Web 3, NFTs to really be accessible to people needs to start with an integration point. Next, it also needs to be a bit more standardized. A lot of overwhelm oftentimes comes from not being able to understand what NFTs are and put it into boxes that people can grasp and take with them. Standardization is a key element for people to be able to really lean in and be able to take that next step forward, whether it's creating an NFT of their own, partnering up, or developing in this space. Leading off of that, just making it more accessible in general. A lot of us might have been at leading edges of technology prior to this, or in an artistic sense, or just in the business world in general. And at those leading edges, it might be a bit foreign to other people. So making sure that it's translatable and accessible into terminology that they understand and are comfortable with is ultimately essential. From there, leading into the metaverse. Right now, there are some incredible platforms being built, these digital worlds, places where we can exist however we might want to exist. But it might be within a virtual lens only. Maybe completely in virtual reality, or just within this digital world. Once again, that's not quite accessible. I propose that the first step to building that bridge for people to step into this space is augmented reality, which a lot of platforms are really building and leaning into there. Augmented reality allows for people to have a more tangible approach or first touch point with what our digital future can really look like. We all can envision it here, I'm sure. And many of you may have even more incredible digital visions of the future than I do. But creating that bridge will allow that future to then exist at this mass scale and really invite people in. Then the third element to really inviting the masses into NFTs and into this space is from that social cultural angle. The micro interaction points, those micro connection points, are where people can step from NFTs are a complete joke to, oh, NFTs could be for me. I wonder how this could transform my life, or just be something I enjoy. In those social, cultural conversations, comes back to wording and terminology oftentimes, or just taking an extra moment to pause and sit with people in the space that they might be in that moment, where they're coming from, whatever background that may be. It's transformed many people's approaches, at least in the Midwest that I've interacted with, to then be able to really start building in this space. Prior to that, there wasn't much of a conversation, at least in my circles in that area. That social cultural angle will then also allow, whether we have DAO or some other type of organization, whether it's our own startup, to increase that member engagement, really helping people to sustain in this space by leaning into that element of human connection. So as each of these different points are addressed, we can then translate it into the space that each person we might be interacting with is coming in. Whether someone might have an established brand, company, or business, they can then see what NFTs can do for them. Maybe what your platform can do for them, which we all know is probably has a lot of amazing possibility. But without that bridge, it won't happen, at least not at scale. Similarly, that can be applied for artists and technologists. This past week, I was speaking to a group of artists, and I had to break it down all the way to what is the internet, really? Just for them to be able to step forward with me into blockchain, and then into NFTs, and then into this wonderful possibility of what this world can provide for them. Not that they needed or even wanted to know the technology behind it, but allowed them to feel safe and welcome here. And that was one of the things that initially attracted me to this space, and I think is one reason that many of us have fallen in love with it, is that we know that this space is meant for everyone. There is space for everyone here, and it's this community-driven aspect that really has driven so many of our different platforms or organizations forward. So we have this inherently within what we are doing already. So I'm just asking to maybe take another pause, lend out another hand, inviting someone else in, and taking a step back to remember that not everyone knows what non-fungible means, or what a token means, or blockchain. And in doing so, all of these beautiful, amazing futures that we've all been able to envision can really come to life. And with that, maybe even some futures that haven't been thought of before, or collaborative partnerships that we didn't even know could exist. We've seen some brands leaning into this space, and that's definitely helped from that understandable point of view. And by each of us collectively taking that next step forward, we have that power as a community to do so, by helping people understand NFTs within terminology in a standardized way that they can approach and take back into their regular lives. Really touch what the metaverse can look like or feel like for their life. And understand within a social construct how it can really translate to their own lives and their circles and be a part of conversation beyond a joke, but something that's actually meaningful and can push them forward to whatever their goals are. So I thank you for sharing this space with me today, for at least pausing to reflect on the idea of creating this space and reaching a hand out for others to create that bridge forward, which I know so many of you are doing wonderfully already. So thank you.